The first part, we really talked about the beginning and kind of before the business got successful. In every business, in every successful business, in every successful life, there comes a turning point where you go from doing free, doing apprenticeships, finding very unique things to do, to either hitting a low or to figuring something out. And what I want to focus on for about the next 6 to 8 minutes is just that turning point. You know, when did you see it happen? When, you know, could you see it coming? What did you do when it got here? Stuff like that. So let's start with the, like I said, we go back, you're doing all this stuff for free, you're starting to do some travel, you're starting to do work for people. First of all, did you see that turning point coming? I mean, were you like, kind of look at the head, look at a head going, wow, I can see this out a month or two and things are going to get better? Or did it just sneak, did the time things started to change just sneak up on you?
I don't know if there was any single turning point. I think that it's something that's really accumulated. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've changed a lot over the last 5-6 years. I'm a lot more confident, a lot more self-aware, a lot more capable, but there wasn't a single turning point. It was kind of an accumulation of events, and it's really just about, we all wrestle with feelings of inadequacy, where maybe we're not getting enough validation, enough positive feedback, and we tend to draw upon reference experiences. So if something doesn't go the way we want it to, then how do we respond to that event? How do we respond to that stimulus? Do we blow it out of proportion and say, let's say for instance, you get rejected by someone who you're interested in, and you're going to blow it out of proportion and say, oh, I guess men aren't interested in me, or I guess women aren't interested in me. That's not the case. If you can accumulate enough validation in whatever area it is, enough reference experiences that show that you are good enough, that you are whole, you are complete just the way you are, I think that can make a longer, more lasting change than if you try to pinpoint some single isolated event. So to accumulate reference experiences, I mean, if you ever come to a fork in the road, if you ever have a chance to take action, just do it. I think travel is a great way to get validation, and you also learn a lot about the world at the same time. I mean, we see a lot of people who kind of find that validation that they've been seeking for their whole lives when they start to travel. Because everyone's jealous of them and they're so cool now because they travel. So whatever it is, I mean, you need to find something that you can be really passionate about, something that you can excel at, and if you can get enough reference experiences to show that you are good just as you are, you have these talents, you have these passions that are awesome, and you don't feel this feelings of insecurity, of inadequacy anymore. And when you're in that kind of place where you're comfortable in your own skin, I think then you're in a position to kind of create something meaningful and really make a positive impact in the world.
Yeah, boy, that is so deep, and I'm so glad you said that. It's kind of interesting. One of the things I want the viewers to all key in on is the fact that, it wasn't one single, turning point. A lot of times we hear, and you've heard this before, about that hockey stick moment where, you're going along like this, and then all of a sudden you hit this point right here, and things just boop, shoot up overnight. And while in some cases, in very rare cases, it still works, like, Danny's a perfect testament to the fact that it's all about growing and your experiences along the way till you hit that critical mass of having enough experiences and enough of not only the experience to be able to prove yourself, but enough of that downtime and kind of gone through enough stuff that you are ready to come out on the other side. Right, Danny?
Yeah, well, you don't fell a tree with one blow of the axe. You keep hacking away at it, and gradually the tree falls. But it's not a single isolated event. I mean, you are what you consistently do. You have to make whoever it is you want to be, whatever it is you want to become. You have to ingrain that into who you are and make it a habit, and consistently practice that habit. And I think the thing that we struggle with the most, whatever it is, if there's any area we want to go in life, I mean, whether it's we want to get in shape, let's say, like physical shape, is that we make it really hard to adhere to that consistency, to that habit. So it's really about finding the inflection point where you can get the highest lever get the most leverage. If you have a lever that's long enough, you can move the world. So if you can make it so simple that you can adhere to it and get the maximum results with the minimum amount of effort, I think then you're on the right path.
Excellent. So let me ask you this: there's one more thing in the whole turning point. I know there wasn't one single turning point, but from that low point, or from the lull before you created the successful business you have today, and we're going to talk about that success in the aftermath segment coming up. But before we get there, what if I just had to say right now, from that turning point, what was the biggest learning, the biggest aha, the biggest thing? Not necessarily you look at it as a turning point, but it's that biggest thing. If somebody said, hey, boom, biggest thing you learned during the turning point, what would it be?
The biggest thing that I learned during the turning point, well, like I said, it's really about instilling a daily kind of, when I was younger, I always felt like I had a chip on my shoulder, like I had something to prove, like I had something was incomplete with me, because I wasn't successful, and the world was telling me that I'm gonna have to start at the bottom, and I didn't feel that way. I felt like I was perfectly capable, I was perfectly intelligent, but I don't feel those same feelings of insecurity anymore. But I do have a daily practice where I have multiple daily practices, so it's kind of become a consistent habit where, like a gratitude journal, for example, I'll focus on the positive things so that when I face an obstacle, a roadblock, that I can respond to it positively. I can interpret the event in a positive light. I have different exercises that I practice that I've developed through habit, and that's really been what I've kind of accumulated as a result of this turning point, this change in my thought behaviors and patterns.
Wow, that is awesome. And I tell you, from meeting with you, from prepping the show, I can never picture you with a chip on your shoulder. I mean, you're a very calm, and it's just, you're a very calm and nice guy. I can't ever picture you with a chip on your shoulder. So it's great that you were that self-aware. And the other thing, our viewers, I really want you to take out of this is that, he's during your turning point, you need to start figuring out the habits that will create a successful aftermath. And that's really the key there. So now that we've talked about Danny's beginning and the turning point, let's go ahead and get into the aftermath.
To watch the rest of this epic episode now, click on the link below the video. Do it now, you'll be glad you did. Are you still here? What are you waiting for? Watch the rest of this epic episode now by clicking on the link below the video.